Hey, what's going on, guys? Bet you didn't think I was going to do that second video this week. I promised you three, and I plan on knocking out all three of those this week. It's kind of to make up for all that time I was away, kind of on other projects, and just really busy. So, on the last video, we talked about, challenging ourselves of some of the things that we fear, like really taking ourselves out of our comfort zone and going out and challenging ourselves and getting goals. And damn it if that ain't important. It's so damn important for you to create these goals to get where you need to be, to get yourself over these different fears that we have. Well, we talked about a little bit about being an athlete and how it reacts, like our body reacts to this stress response. Because, this really does boil down to stress. Most of your symptoms come from stress, and, anxiety is kind of a little fuck you at the end that, prolonged stress just brings it on. So, to kind of further go into some of the things that I did personally to get over my anxiety and panic, and like I said in the last video, I talked about before I used to have 10% good days and 90% bad days. And now I have 90% good days and 10% bad days. And I don't even call them bad days, they're just, not 100% days. And that gets me to the first thing I want to talk to today, and that's like expectations. Um, you can really set yourself up for an anxious day by having an expectation of what the day should be, or having a perfectionistic side to yourself that you envision everything going completely perfect, when in fact things don't usually typically go down that way. It just doesn't really happen. And we really need to get past that. And that was one of the harder things for me to get past because I am a perfectionist and I am a control freak. Or I was. I'd say I'm probably 50-50 now, just to be honest. So, the first part of that, the first step is time management. Stick with me because I know this is kind of a boring subject, and it was to me at first, but when I started thinking about time management, I started thinking about, the things that actually got me really anxious in the mornings or got me anxious, throughout the day. And really what it was not setting myself up to have a good day. And what I mean by this is I would sleep until, I don't know, 45 minutes before I had to be to work. Now let me tell you something. I do a 30 to 45 minute commute to work every day. So waking up 45 minutes prior to going to work, I had to get up, shower, shave, do all that kind of stuff. Mind you, I have to dress in business attire every day, which means pressed shirts, suits, shiny shoes, everything that kind of goes into that. So getting up 45 minutes early, and I'm trying to eat breakfast, and I'm trying to get all my clothes ready, and I'm trying to shower, and I'm trying to just, look presentable for the day. I don't have it. I work at a job where, I have 160 employees working for me, kind of on stage, and I have to look presentable. Obviously, I run a business, and I have 3,500 customers a day that may or may not want to talk to me. So being presentable is very, very important. Well, back to what I was saying was I was never setting myself up to have a good day because A, I would only get up 45 minutes earlier than I would need to leave to go to work. Instead of, what I could have done is pressed my clothes the night before, packed my lunch. I could have, just gotten up earlier. And that was something hard for me just to wrap my mind around is, why the hell would anyone want to get up any earlier to get ready for work? It's I already do 10-hour days, which is the bare minimum. And granted, shit, over the last month I've been doing 14s. So getting up that extra time, I'm like, well, that's just more time allocated to work. So what I started doing was I started getting my stuff ready at night. That was a big deal. setting my clothes out, packing the lunch, setting myself up and writing notes and strategies or whatever I had to do for the next day. So when I woke up, I had that pressure was kind of gone. Because think about it. When you're running late, you think about all these different scenarios in your head of, well, I'm late and what if something happens? What if I'm in a traffic jam? Or what if I'm even later? What are the people going to think? What are they going to say? And that really is something that would bother me. It goes back to that perfectionism. I wanted to come across as being damn near the perfect boss. I wanted to be the first one in the morning. I wanted to be as presentable as possible. I wanted to look like I had my shit together. And of course, that was one of my biggest fears, is not looking like I was together. Not only crazy, but I wanted to look together, like I had all my ducks in a row, which isn't always true. And is it for anybody? I mean, some people are better at hiding it. I, for one, am not good at hiding that. Um, Organization as well, organizing things, putting things in order and prioritizing was also a huge challenge for me. I was never good at organizing. I always had the best intentions, but I never was good at it. I would, start a nice new binder, a nice new folder with all the information that I would need, and I would p-touch it all. Yeah, fuck p-touching, right? I mean, I know people that, they p-touch everything. I mean, they p-touch their salt. Like, I'm not that guy. And I'm just being honest. Like, that's just not what I do. I mean, is there a damn pop bottle on the floor of my car? Yeah, there's probably 3. So, I never was a super organized person. But I also recognized that it would cause stress for me. I would be stressed out in the morning trying to rush and get done everything that I needed to get done just to get to work. And then as I'm driving to work and I'm looking at the time and I'm realizing, oh my God, I only have 15 minutes to do a 45-minute drive, I would think in my mind about what people were thinking or they were saying or whatever. Well, in order for my mind to stop thinking about that, then my real creative side started to come out. And I would start going over all of the issues that I would probably have to deal with that day. And, once I got farther away from work, and I'm sure some of you can attest to this, the farther you're away from your comfort zone or your safe zone, the more anxious feeling you would get. And everybody reacts to this stress or this anxiety differently. Me, I tend to retch or to gag, whatever you want to call it. I cough, I gag. I rarely vomit, but it has happened. But, I would find myself, you know, 15, 20 minutes out from work and I would just start gagging. And I would get sick to my stomach. And, then the dizziness would kick in. And, all these scary things, or not even scary, but just things I didn't want to put up with that day, just started going into my head. And by the time I would get to work, I'd already be a wreck. I would be a wreck because it started from the minute I woke up. I woke up, in a rush, like I had to get all this shit done. And but for what? All I had to do was get up a half hour earlier. Maybe that meant I had to go to bed a half hour earlier, but so what? I mean, we talked about the whole I'd pay $1 million to not have anxiety. Well, how about we try to control some of the things to eliminate some of the stress? And, eliminating your perfectionistic side, you know, preparing for the day coming up. I mean, if you just look at it this way, it may seem like bullshit. You're like, oh, I don't want to have to do all of that. I can take care of it in the morning. And it goes back to that procrastination thing too. But, you put yourself in position to do well that day, and you'll be fine. Because, I mean, if you look at it like you're, prepping for an exam, or you're just, just prepping in general. I mean, how much better do you feel if you prep for an exam? Like, you feel good about it. Like, you feel good walking into it. You feel confident. You feel not so stressed. You feel like you did everything that you could do. I mean, you need to eliminate the things that you can control. I mean, there's so many things outside of our control, especially with like the health anxiety side of things. Granted, you cannot smoke. You can choose not to drink. You can choose to eat the right foods and exercise. Yes, you can do that, but there are people that still end up with terminal illness because of that. So is that something we really can't control? Sure, we can help it, but we can't really control it. But you can control some of the external stressors, like being an organized person, like managing your time well, and the perfectionism, not having such high expectations for yourself all the time. So that's what I started doing. I started getting into a routine. That routine was vital to me. And the reason why that was important to someone that had, I guess, for lack of a better term, an actual disease or disorder. Somebody that has cancer has a regimen that they have to do every day in order to keep themselves alive or to limit the pain and suffering that they go through. Well, as an anxiety sufferer or someone that has panic attacks, you're doing the exact same thing. You are going out of your way to try to make it less stressful so the symptoms aren't quite as much. So by preparing and strategizing and doing all these things ahead of time, managing your time well, that you're doing the exact same thing. You are creating a routine that you become comfortable with. I mean, sometimes things are going to come up where it's going to take you outside of your routine, but as long as you stay in that realm for the most part, 75% of the time, I mean, think about that. That's going to decrease your stress. I mean, if you take your stress and you're at 100% stress right now, and setting your clothes out in the morning takes it down to 90, and getting up a half hour early takes it down to 85, and packing your lunch at night takes it down to 80, and giving yourself enough drive time so you know you're going to be there on time takes it down to 75. And I mean, there could be a million other things. I mean, if you have kids, it's probably not as easy, but why not do the same thing with them? I mean, when you prepare, you eliminate stress. I'll give a little side tidbit, just kind of like I did the last video, of something that also another tip or trick, I guess, that I would do in order to eliminate some of my stress. Because granted, all the things that we just talked about, you could easily do. Another thing was I would have all these crazy, like, irrational thoughts. I would think a lot of bad things about myself a lot of the times, which goes back to the perfectionism or how people view me. So I bought a little itty bitty recorder. They were like 20 bucks at Best Buy. And when I would start, my mind was spinning 900 miles an hour. I would start to record myself, and I would just, every thought that was coming to my mind, I was speaking it into this recorder. And I would just go through it. Like, I mean, for instance, I don't feel really good right now. I've had chest pains all day. What if I smell bad? What if my smile's funny? What if my eyes look weird? What if my shirt isn't perfectly pressed? What if? I would just go through it. And I think it was funny. I just read one of my journal entries, and I actually took one of them, and I broke it down into how many things I actually was able to spit out in like a 5-minute period. It was like 120 some odd items of things that I was worried about in that exact moment. I mean, it's proven fact that your mind can do like 1.5 things at a time, like really focus in on them. So that's kind of probably why you feel like you're spinning in circles a lot of the times, and then you're just kind of paralyzed and just sit there, get tired, get dizzy, you know. But I recommend buying a little recorder, and it also helps for when you journal at night too, because you can, even just do little excerpts like, this is really bothering me right now, blah, 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 you kind of get it out there, and then you kind of replay it back at night, and then you can problem solve it, or you can laugh about it, or you can just be like, wow, that's really nuts. Anyways, that's a little tip or trick that I wanted to add there at the end of the video. Getting to that 15-minute mark, definitely not doing 20. We already talked about that, not doing 20. Not going to do it. So, anyways, this is the second part of it. I mean, it's only Tuesday. I mean, I'm feeling a little froggy. I think I might be able to do 4 videos this week. I don't know. Let me know if this one helps you. I'm going to go through and, read through some more of my journals and, kind of separate a couple more things out that I know for a fact definitely eased my stress. And I hope it does help you too. Very important. Well, please hit that like button. It lets me know that you're watching. Just right down there. Right down there. There's like a subscribe here or one of these places. You know, knowing that these are actually helping you guys is what really motivates me to continue. And I've gotten a ton of great feedback, and I've gotten a lot of love. But knowing that I'm helping in some way or another, it does keep me motivated, and it makes me want to do this even more. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. Look me up on Facebook. It's under Power of Self. Yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you soon.